Hi everybody and welcome back to Lost Genre Reddit Stories. This post is from the subreddit Relationships and it's by user RunHard9797. X42 female is creating so much drama in my 37 male life that I am having trouble coping, considering giving up my kids just to get it all to stop. I don't know where to begin. I was married for 13 years, have two small children, 4 and 6, Jill and Marvin, and after being divorced, I am now remarried to a wonderful woman, Donna. My ex will not stop harassing me. I have to communicate with her for the kids, but it is so contentious that the court finally ordered all communication to go through an online site. And I had to change my phone number and move. It was that bad. I had my kids this weekend. Things went great and I went and saw my family. No incidents. We had a great time. Then I got this email. Quote, Jill and Marvin report that they were in a traffic accident with you this weekend, in the truck. They both report that the loud, obscene exchange between their father and the ABC towing driver scared them. They both report that they were bitten by Greg's dog, Murphy, during their visit at your folks' house this weekend. This is the second dog they have both reported biting them. I have also posted their reports that they have been bitten by a large dog named Betsy at your in-laws' house. They have traumatic memories of metal being scraped out of your leg. I hope that you recover and get back to your job quickly. I hope that Donna is okay. They report that you have trouble walking. This is consistent with behavior I observed at drop-off on Sunday night. You didn't get out of your new car and it appeared very awkward for you to unbuckle their booster seat belts from the driver's seat. I need to know about these things, please. Dog bites are notoriously dirty and prone to infections. Just because our children didn't appear to be as seriously injured as you were in the truck accident doesn't mean that they couldn't be stiff and sore and possibly have internal injuries for which I need to be observing. At least I need to understand why they were stiff and sore and acting more fearful than usual when they came home. Their mild to moderate bruising and scrapes and the chunks of skin missing from their hands and fingers are consistent with their reports of the accident and the dog bites. I will take Jill and Marvin to the pediatrician's walk-in clinic to rule out any unseen injuries and infections. It would be nice if you would call or email the doctor's office and tell them what you can about the accident and the dog bites. It could help rule out tests and treatments that might not be necessary. It would also be nice if you would pay your half of their medical expenses, especially because the accident and the dog bites happened when they were with you. Today is Jill's first day of school. I could have taken them to the doctor 2 days ago if you had shared that they were bitten and in a traffic accident that was bad enough it required a tow truck for your truck and medical care for you. If you want to drive the kids to Santa Barbara and back in a weekend, expose them to animals that aren't safe for children, and fight with tow truck drivers in front of them, I cannot prevent that. But what happens to their little growing bodies and the events that are being imprinted on their sweet innocent minds is very much my business. Please share all of the information regarding what happened to our children in the truck accident. Please share all of the information regarding the bites from the dogs. As a mother, it is very worrisome to hear my preschooler and my first grader recount the dangerous things that are happening to them. But it is even more worrisome that my co-parent withholds vital information about their health. Jill and Marvin deserve to know that their parents are working together to take care of them. Thank you. End quote. I don't even know where to begin. The dog that was there had no teeth, didn't bite them, and couldn't have even if it wanted to. My in-laws' dog is dead. I was never in an accident. There was no tow truck. All of this is false. I can't even find a shred of a real event that could have gotten twisted. This comes on the heels of 4 days ago, her trying to corner me into signing away 30% of my custody agreement and refusing to let me even look at the details of the paperwork. I am so frazzled by all of this that at times I think about signing away my parental rights just to not have the stress. But I don't want my children thinking I don't care for them and abandoned them. How do you reason with this level of crazy? Any advice is welcome. I need help managing this. So that's the post that OP wrote 8 years ago to start off this saga. I'm not going to give any commentary on it except to say that if your spouse or your co-parent behaves this way and tries to pull this kind of crap, then you talk to your lawyer to do whatever you can to get your kids away from this level of crazy. But considering giving up your parental rights to get away from it, that's not an option and it shouldn't even be considered. Now, before getting to the update that was just a couple of days ago, I'm going to read some of the community comments that gave OP some advice, and then we're going to read a legal advice post that OP wrote also 8 years ago, and then we'll finish this off with the update. Throwaway, hey, 08 says, turn this over to your lawyer. Please fight this fight. I know it is hard, but can you imagine growing up with a mother who chooses to rewrite history and reality to suit her whims? And OP responds, lawyers have been contacted. No response in 3 days. Emailed with this craziness this morning. Still crickets. PixieCut678 says, did this message go through the online system that you're supposed to communicate through? You need to contact your attorney as soon as possible. You don't want to wait until she starts claiming that there has been some sort of sexual abuse occurring on your weekends with the kids. And Teresa JS says, quote, there was no car accident, nor was there any interaction with any tow truck driver. Neither child was bitten by a dog while under my care. End quote. Okay, so the community told him that OP needed to fight this and he needed to go to his lawyers. So now let's move on with the legal advice post. And the title reads, Legal Rights Surrounding a Primary Custody Parent Who After 4 Attempts Is Not Picking Up Her Children From Me, the Non-Custodial Parent, California. I am in Southern California. I don't know what to do here. I am the non-custodial parent. I have had the kids for 1 week, 4 and 6, during Christmas break. Due to the high conflict nature of my ex, we have been assigned a co-parenting person to help mediate. On the 30th, we were supposed to exchange the kids back to her care. I showed up 15 minutes early to the location and we waited for 1 hour and 7 minutes before giving up and leaving. She had been claiming she was right there for over 35 minutes. The location was an IHOP 300 feet away from the freeway exit. After I left, I got a slew of messages calling me all sorts of names and claiming that she had just showed up but that I had left. This song and dance has happened before. She said she would meet me anywhere, just to let her know where. This time, I called her bluff and picked a location 2 miles from my home and told her, the kids are hungry and tired of waiting. I am taking them to my house. When you arrived at the location, 11 miles from the IHOP, text me and let me know, and I'll bring them right over. I sent her the location 5 times in text and twice via email. 4.5 hours later, nothing. I then told her that we could meet at the agreed upon location at 11 a.m. the next day for the exchange, just 1 day later than planned. When I woke up in the morning, she demanded I drive them 1 hour to a new location because she had a 103-degree fever and couldn't drive. There, of course, was a back and forth about her ability to care for children if she was too sick to drive. Ultimately, she failed to arrive at the location at 11 a.m. At 5 p.m., I got a doctor's note stating that she only had a cold and was fine to care for the children. I didn't ask for this. I then called her and we had a heated back and forth, but ultimately, I relented and told her that I would bring them to a location that she chose, 1 hour away and 1 mile from her house, under the agreement that she would show up this time. Before leaving, I sent an email confirming the location and time. That was at 7:48 p.m. We arrived at the new location at 8:51 p.m. and texted to let her know we were there. What happened next was so frustrating. No response to any text was ever given. Every time I would send a text, I would get an email, all of them stating the same thing, that she would not leave her house until I verified my location. I sent her 6 different responses to emails telling her where I was. All I would get in response is more messages asking me to confirm my location. I even made a phone call telling her where I was. Unfortunately, at this point, I was in such disbelief, I did yell at her and tell her to get her ass down here. Not my finest hour. At 10:21 p.m., with kids in high anxiety and crying that their mom had forgotten them again, we left and drove the hour back home. I have now messages accusing me of child abduction. I don't know what to do. I am not subjecting my kids to this again. I can't bear to watch them check every car and get excited. I think I see her over and over again for hours while she plays these games. My worry is that the cops are going to come knocking down my door when I have done everything I can to make these exchanges work. Is this enough to have my lawyers file an emergency hearing to get primary custody? I am in limbo right now since neither my lawyers or the co-parenting person will be in the office for 2 more days. So the reason I read that post was to give us more context regarding the type of co-parenting relationship that OP has to deal with his ex-wife. So now, after all of that, we've got the complete context, which means we now jump into the future 8 years to the update. I was looking in my profile and saw my post in this subreddit from 8 years ago, as my ex was causing so much chaos that I was doubting everything. I took everything you said to heart and implemented several things right away. I became a grey rock and started documenting my ass off. I consulted my lawyers and they said they advised several steps, the first of which was a 730 evaluation. This is an evaluation done by a psychologist. That process took a really long time as the 730 evaluator got very sick halfway through. That took 10 months. At the end, the report essentially read, Mom is volatile and disorganized and that Dad's home would be a more stable home for the children. However, there is hope that Mom is starting to improve, so if things are still bad in 1 year, it would be appropriate to change custody to Dad. This was a tough pill to swallow. Things were not better and the chaos was just intermittent, so we just kept documenting and doing our thing. Eventually, we started getting a lot of emails from teachers that Jill, in particular, was often not bathed, never had her homework done, didn't have school supplies, and that she was falling behind in her studies. We applied for a trial to review custody and asked for primary custody to be swapped to us. That was at the end of 2019. The trial was set for May 2020. So as you can imagine, once COVID hit, everything got delayed. There was a large amount of events in 2020. COVID shut down, Donna and I had a child, Rebecca, and then my ex started denying visitation to Jill and Marvin. Every 2 weeks, I would go down, wait in front of the house, no kids would emerge. Sometimes I would have the police come, not to force anything, but to get the documentation in terms of a case number. This went on for 4 months before I was able to start getting visitation again. Eventually, the trial was set for summer of 2021 and went for 3 days, and I had over 500 pages of documentation. Day 1 was entirely testimony from the co-parenting therapist we had been seeing for 5 years. She testified that my ex was the most difficult client she had ever worked with in her career, that my ex never followed a single agreement in session, and that she was a pathological liar. The last day of testimony was my ex, where she was caught lying on the stand and was presented with evidence that she had been secretly taking the children to a medical professional for 2 years that I had explicitly not agreed to. So, starting in August 2021, the judge ordered the kids come live with me, primary custody, and limiting my ex to 4 days a month. It's now been 3 years. When Jill was in 5th grade, she had a 26% in math and a 40% in English. For the last 3 years, she has maintained a 4.0 every single year and will be starting high school in Honors Geometry, Honors English, and AP Biology. Marvin has also been doing well and just finished his first year of middle school with a 4.0 GPA and is loving his coding and robotics elective. They have new clothes and have learned new skills and responsibilities. Donna has been crucial in setting up patterns to help with success in school. Their rooms are both immaculate and they are the ones doing it with very little direction from us. They are happy and finally involved in activities and sports. Our little Rebecca adores both of them, and I will often find all 3 of them cuddled up together as one of the older 2 reads a book to her. Jill made the decision recently to stop going on visits to her mom. The chaos and drama started being directed at her, along with a lack of food, clothes that fit, etc. Marvin is still going for visits, and we are encouraging that as long as he is feeling safe there. All in all, things are going so well and the kids are doing incredible. There are hard moments still, but it has all been worth it and we are able to shield them for the most part from any chaos their mom may want to start. If anyone is reading this that initially sent advice, thank you. When you are in the thick of it, it is tough to not feel like it is impossible and you will never be able to overcome it. I needed the outside perspective. Well, B, congratulations on fighting for your kids and finally winning. With everything that happened in the last 8 years, good for you for not throwing in the towel. It sounds like your kids are doing great, you are happy, Donna's happy, and Rebecca has 2 older siblings that really love her, so that is all the proof you need to know that what you did was right. So on that note, OP, here's wishing you 5, and not your ex because we don't care about her, the best in the future. Thanks so much for sharing and take care. And now let's finish this video with a mood booster post. This post is from the subreddit Malicious Compliance and it's by user Undercover Union 145. Stay until it's done? Okay, I'm doing it by the book, then getting an extra day off. I used to work as a supervisor in my last job and was directly working with a union. Some of my managers really didn't want to deal with things when it came to workplace injuries, so I had to deal with most of them. If you have worked with a union before, this is a very long and time-consuming process, while important, very tedious. So that brings us to that one evening. I was on my second double in a row of 3 and very much ready to go home. As I wrapped up my area, my evening manager texted me to assist another supervisor with an injury. The supervisor was newer and needed to be taught. I informed them I was already there on a double and needed to come back on the morning, and was there anyone else or could they help them? This manager, who was notorious for passing their work on others, he texted me no, and I had to stay until it was done. Okay, I have written documentation of a directive. Who am I to say no? Alright, well then, since I'm teaching, I'm going by the book. I opened up a union and company policy on workplace incidents and followed it step by step. By the time I got to the drug test portion, the local clinic we use was closed and we needed to call it in. It was important because if you don't use the local clinic, the out-of-area one takes 4+ hours to come out. While that was processing, I did a lengthy investigation with the union. I spent the entire night going by the book, taking pictures and documenting everything I could. By the time I finished and the drug test finished, it was 7 AM and my shift started in 30 minutes. This is the time the morning manager came in. They are one of my favorite and why I pick up mornings all the time. When she saw me, she said, "Oh, you're in early?" I said, "I never left." Her face dropped because they have a rule that while management, including supervisor, can work more than 16 hours, if they work more than 20 hours, they need a 24-hour reset. I wasn't in the union, but still hourly salaried and got overtime over 8 hours in a day. So not only was I going to not be able to make my morning shift, I couldn't make my evening shift either. I was still gonna be paid for both while being sent home. She asked me who told me to do this, and I showed her the message from the evening manager telling me to stay until it is finished. I went home and enjoyed my extra day off into the weekend. When I came back, I had an interview about the incident with the senior manager. After showing my messages, which the manager tried to delete but only did on his side, I was dismissed without any issues. The manager, on the other hand, was written up by the senior manager. They also had to pay me my 2 regular shifts plus 24 hours of overtime. Needless to say, I stopped picking up after that no matter how much they begged. Well, OP, you had a directive that told you that you needed to stay there until the whole thing was over. And of course, there is no other way to do things than by the book. Particularly when it comes to following orders from people like that manager that got written up for doing so. So thanks so much for sharing, OP. Take care. And that's it for today's video. Thank you so much for taking the time to watch it. Now, if you've gotten to this point in the video, I assume that you like these stories that I'm reading out. So here are a couple more that you might enjoy. And if you don't have any time to watch another story right now, save it for later. And also, don't forget to hit that subscribe button.